Hello, and welcome to day 2 of the 7 days of movement challenge. Today, we're going to look at the knees, which can sometimes be a little bit of a sensitive subject because knees can sometimes be quite painful. Any part of the body can be. It can carry some discomfort, but knees tend to take a lot of strain because they're the middle joint between our hips and our ankles. So sometimes they just take a little bit of strain and they start to niggle, or they have a big niggle and a big injury. So if you are dealing with any knee things or have any previous injuries or current injuries, please take care. And we don't want to move into pain. We want to move just before the pain. So just bear that in mind. Again, nothing too hectic today. We're just creating awareness and space. And let's get going. My name is Leela. If this is the first time you're here, but go back and do day 1. Don't start here. Go back. Or maybe I should point that way. I don't know. But go do day 1. Then come back here. Cool. Let us come back to standing wherever you are. If you'd like to take your shoes off, I encourage you to do so if that's possible right now. And we're just going to start with some very easy, little gentle bending and stretching of that knee joint. So flexion and extension of the knee. If you look at me from the side, again, I'm just taking my pelvis, keeping my pelvis underneath me as I bend and stretch the knees. And spreading the feet, lifting the arches like we did yesterday. Good. Then I'd like you to please bring the feet together. Take your hands to the top of your knees. And we're going to start to gently create circles. And noticing how this pulls the weight in a circle around the base of your feet. So if I take my legs over to the left and then the right, moving through a circular motion. You can bend your knees as much as you need to or like to, and then change direction. Think of keeping a little bit of awakeness, aliveness, activation in your bellies. You don't want to completely relax your center. You must have a sense of activation in your center body. Coming back to the center. Great. Take your feet a little bit wider than your pelvis. We're going to go back into bending and stretching. So flexion and extension. Again, see if you can keep that pelvis underneath you and just listen to what happens in the knee joint as you bend and extend. Bend and extend. Last 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to go into a single leg, so transfer your weight over onto one leg. And again, like we did yesterday, just lifting the leg slightly off the floor, hold onto a chair or a desk or a wall. And again, we're going into flexion and extension. So I want you to see how much you can pull your heel towards your butt, and then how much can you stretch your knee and pull your toes up towards you. And heel to butt, toes to nose. Heel to butt, toes to nose. Extension and flexion. Extension and flexion. Noticing that as you extend, you're activating your quadriceps, the front of your thigh. And then as you flex, you're activating your hamstrings, the back of your thigh. Yeah, a few more. Again, you need to stay connected to your core, especially if you're not holding on to anything. Last one, and then change. Extending and flexing. Extending. Listening to the tracking of the knee, what's happening in that joint. As you move through the motion, yeah. I can feel on this side, my toes don't really want to lift to my nose. And that's okay. I just do the best that I can. Last 3, 2, and last one. Good. I'd like you to come onto your back, please. And hopefully you'll be able to see me. I'll try and change direction if necessary. Fold your right leg in towards your chest. And then I want you to actually rotate from the hip so that the foot shifts over or turns to face the left-hand side, and then rotate to the hip so that the foot twists towards the right-hand side. So this is more hip action, yeah? Because we're focusing on the knee, take your attention up to the knee joint, and I want you to start to create circles. You can think of leading with the foot, but majority of the attention is actually in your knee. And that will result in a rotation in the hip joint, and maybe even a little bit of rolling in the ankle, rotation in the ankle, if you choose. Why? Because the body is an integrated system and nothing is separate. If you did day 1, you would know that. Change direction. So drawing circles with the foot, which is actually causing some rotation in the knee and also referring into the hip joint. You could potentially do this sitting on a chair if you needed to. Well, it's nice to do on the floor. Change legs. So fold it in and then test. What happens if you move from the hip joint? Yeah, twisting from the hip, or external rotation of the hip into internal rotation of the hip. And then take your attention to your knee, and I want you to find circles in the knee. Yeah, if it's helpful to lead from the foot, please do. I'm going to change my angle so that you can see from this angle. Yeah, making circles, yeah. Listening into that joint space. Have we changed direction? I'm not sure if we have. If we haven't changed direction. And then let it go. Good. You can hug your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a little bit of a rock and roll. And then slowly make your way onto all fours. And we're going to take ourselves down into a child's pose. And I want you to experience how much knee flexion you have here with a little bit of load. So child's pose, toes together, knees are apart to make space for your torso. And you're going to see how far can you get your pelvis back to your feet, to your heels. Yeah, if this is very uncomfortable, you might want to take a block and put a block between, or a pillow even, between your heels and your butt so that you have a little bit of space to rest there. So you're not hanging on for dear life here in the ether. You can rest back onto something and test this flexion in the knee joint. Now from here, can you roll your pelvis from side to side and sense what's happening in your knee joint as you do that? Yeah. In that deep flexion, loaded deep flexion, with a shifting of weight, what happens in the knee space? And then settle your weight, come back to all fours. And we can just tap out the feet a little bit. Great. Then tuck your toes underneath you, lift your pelvis up towards the sky, and take a few little walks upside down, getting some blood to the brain.
And then slowly take your time to bring yourself to the middle of your mat, hanging upside down. Feel how your feet and your legs support you here, and then slowly roll yourself all the way up, bending the knees and bringing your head up last. And then lastly, again, just stepping slightly wider than your pelvis, and I want you to bend and stretch, bend and stretch, and sense what's happening. Or if you've created any extra space in that part of the body. Come back to center. Maybe a little shimmy and a shake here. Take a breath in and let it go. Great. And that's the end of day 2, just bringing some awareness into the space of the knees. And again, remembering that everything is interconnected, and I will say that many times over the next 7 days. So, oh, no, now we've only got 5 days left. That's exciting. All right, lovely human, have a beautiful rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you tomorrow for day 3. Lots of love. Ciao.